Hello, my name is Ryan Messer, and you're listening to the Life is a Mess podcast. I hope you had a great week. So, this week's quote comes from this year's Survivor finalist, and in honor of it being the final week of the season, I figured, hey, what a better time to do it. So, this week's quote is: "The only limits in this world are the limits you put on yourself." And if you're a Survivor fan, Xander said this, and if you didn't, I advise to look at it. It was the last episode of the season that it happened. It was just a casual conversation, and I thought it was really cool. So when I was watching this episode, as soon as I heard him say this, I knew that it's something I had to talk about, and again, I like to involve my life into my podcast, and I think that's what will help it be better. But and then again, this is something that I love, and hopefully, if anyone's listening to this, also love it too. So the reason for this was because of how simple it was, but how impactful the statement is. It's not something that's just a simple statement has no meaning. It really does have a ton of meaning behind it. And so the first thing I want to talk about is that we put limits on ourselves whether you think it or not. And what I mean by this is that you automatically see yourself as less than you are, and so you honestly don't try as hard as you could. And so, as a trickle down effect, you don't do as good as you should have because you think that you can't do it. And so, before you have started, you know that you can't do it. And so that's an issue of, if you went into a situation and said, hey, I can do this and I know I can do this, you're way more likely to do it than if you just go into it and say, yeah, I'm not really sure if I can do this. Or even better yet, saying, hey, there's no way that I can do this. And again, as I've spoken on before, is, whatever you say in your mind is probably going to be right. So if you think that you cannot do something, then you'll never be able to achieve it. And if you think you can do it, you're going to eventually achieve it. And that's the issue is, people think that, just because I don't achieve it this first time, I'm done. I'm never going to be able to do it again. And, I'm never going to be able to move forward past this because I just can't do it. And that a lot of people stop at that point. But you got to move forward to it because, again, like I said, like it says, you're the only one putting that limitation on yourself. So there's so many times that I've been talking to people and they say that, they cannot do things because of this and that. But in reality, they just don't want to do it bad enough. And, if you want to do it bad enough, then you would find a way. And I know it sounds very simple, a statement on that, but that's the truth. If you really want to do something, you really set your mind to it, you can do it. No matter what you want to do, no matter how you want to do it. And I'm going to be real on this and say that, I understand that not everyone can lift thousands of pounds. And I understand that not everyone can be a billionaire. But give everything you got. And if you literally die trying, then you succeeded in life. You've done everything in your power that you can do to get there, and you haven't put a limitation on yourself. I mean, what more could you want out of life? So, and I want to make sure that it's very clear that I myself tend to do the same thing. So I don't want it to get confused that I don't acknowledge myself as something that that I don't do this stuff and that I'm perfect and that I'm able to sit here and just criticize every person that I talk to, because I do the same thing. I 100% have done this numerous times. I can give you example after example. I'm about to give you another example. But I want to make sure that it's known that I understand that I don't do all this stuff, but I promise you that I'm working on making myself realize that I'm capable of anything. And again, none of this stuff that I'm sitting here talking about on any of my podcasts are overnight things. That's why I give week to week challenges. And that's why I give, I don't sit here and check up on every single listener. I just trust that you can do it. And that, if you give every week, as before, I've always said, my favorite thing is, get 1% better every day. And again, this is something that you can do every day. So, for example, I thought for sure that due to family and life situations, that when my dream of being on the show Survivor, that when I talked to it or mentioned that I would like to be on it, that, they would say, that's ridiculous, Ryan. There's no way you should do that. And I was wrong. I've since then, talked to people about it. I talked to people that were close to me that, would be able to have influence on this decision. And everyone said that it was okay. Everyone told me that, hey, Ryan, I think you're capable of doing it. I think that you've put the work in to look at it, and I think you're physically fit enough, and I think that there's no reason why you shouldn't. And I tell you, that's a tough thing to think about, considering I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, and I'm 20 years old, but I could have done it earlier. I could have done it earlier in life, but I just want to point out here that, first of all, I'm either within the next couple months gonna apply, or in the summer gonna apply, depending on how my time schedule works out. But I'm gonna end up applying for this, and if it wasn't for these people that talked to me and told me that it's possible, I wouldn't. I honestly would not have never done it. I might have done it when I'm 35, 40 years old, but by then I can't do it. And I would have sat there and think, man, I can't believe other people made it to where I couldn't do this. But in reality, it was me. I was the one that, said I couldn't do it. I was the one who thought I couldn't do it. I mean, all of that. And this really made me realize, I'm the issue. I'm the one who put the limit on myself. Not a single person around me did. And I'm gonna go on a little tangent here, but I want to make sure. I think this does fall in the same category, so I'm gonna say it. Of you need to surround yourself with people that are good people. And what I mean by this is people that support your decisions and are going to be there. And now I understand, support your decisions can, some people make bad decisions. And I myself am one of those people too. But for the most part, when you want to go on a limb like this and you want to do something that has never been done before, or that is kind of out there, you need people behind you. Because if you don't, you're never going to achieve where you want to be. And so where I'm getting at is that if you have people in your life that constantly tell you that you can't do something, or that you're not what you should be doing, get them out of your life. And it's a very, very hard time, and it's a very hard decision to make. But I promise you, when you get people out of your life that bring you down and make you realize that you're not, then life will change. Your life will be much better, and I promise you it will. And if you want to, give me a call, give me a text, shoot me a message, anything like that. I'll be your biggest fan. Because sometimes a little fan can go a long way. So, and again, I apologize if that seemed like a rant, but I just want to let everyone to know that, make that decision, and it's a hard decision, but you can get through it, you can get past it, and your life will be much better without it. So, with all that being said, I'm going to present this week's challenge. So, what I'd like you to do is think about what you want to do in your life and write it down. And 3 to 4 days later, think about it while you're doing it, but don't write anything else down. And after those 3 or 4 days, I want you to write down how much more you can do and make those goals bigger. If those goals are big goals, make them bigger. If those goals are small goals, make bigger goals and also have those small goals. You never have too many goals, because if you have goals, you have a purpose and you have something you can go forward. So, as always, let me know how this goes. And if it helps you in any way, please let me know. Yeah. So I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas. And so this concludes this week's podcast. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a terrific week. I look forward to speaking to you next week. Goodbye.